What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel, Austin Davis. In this video, we're gonna be talking about how I price pressure washing jobs. So if you guys are brand new to the industry, maybe you guys are thinking about starting a pressure washing business, I can totally understand where your head's at right now. Equipment, pricing, chemicals, all kinds of stuff to think about. Well, in this video, I hope to just alleviate just a little bit of stress that you might be going through right now as far as the pressure washing business goes. So let's get right into pricing. So guys, there's a couple different ways you guys can price pressure washing jobs. There's obviously just going by the per hour. You guys can go by per square foot, or a lot of guys just eyeball it depending on how long you've been in the industry. But what I plan to do for you guys is give you a concrete way that you guys can price something where there's no losers. And by what I mean by no losers is that, you're gonna be profitable. The customer is probably gonna be happy with the price. You're most likely gonna get that estimate accepted and your business is gonna grow, okay? So first thing that you guys need to establish is, what your business needs to make per hour. Now, if you guys are just starting out, you're probably not gonna have that much expenses associated. You're gonna have very little equipment. You're probably gonna have, very little gas expenditures. Maybe you don't have general liability insurance yet, which is okay for just getting started, although I do recommend you guys get general liability policy as soon as you can. But, when you're first getting started, it's okay to look at a job and say, okay, how long do you guys think this is gonna take me? Okay, so let's say you're just looking at a standard driveway. Maybe you're just getting started, you're trying to get customers. What I would tell you is just to figure out how much you wanna make per hour and then multiply that by how long it's gonna take you. So if you guys are just getting started, something that you guys can do that's great is just say, okay, look, maybe I'm okay with working for $75 to $100 an hour. Okay, look, you're just getting started. You guys can't charge these premium prices like $275, $300 an hour when you're just getting started. Well, because your customer is going to look at you and say, why would I choose you as opposed to this other company that I'm getting a bid from? This company has 60 or 100 reviews and you have nothing. Why would I choose you? Okay, so you're gonna have to do something to separate yourself, to allow yourself to get a lot of jobs quickly. And doing jobs for cheap is just fine when you're just getting started. So you can look at a driveway and say, okay, this is gonna take me 2 hours. I think I'm worth $75 an hour, or I'm willing to work for $75 an hour just starting. Boom, $150, driveway, you got the customer in your CRM, you got some reviews, you got some pictures to upload on your Google My Business, and everyone's happy. But as you grow, you're gonna start to realize that you're gonna have to start to be a bit more strategic with your pricing. That way, like I said in the beginning, your business can grow, you're gonna be profitable, and your customers are still gonna accept those estimates because, the industry pricing is pretty standard as you go across the board. With house washing, guys, 15 to 25 cents per square foot is pretty industry standard. So let's say we're looking at a 2,500 square foot house, okay? Pretty standard house in America, okay? 3-4 bedroom house, 2 or 3 baths, okay? Family living in the house, 2,500 square foot house. I'm pulling up to the house and in my business, I pretty much start at 20 cents per square foot. You'll find that, depending on where you are in the country, some guys are at 15 cents a square foot, like Florida, where there's a pressure washing company on every single block, or maybe sometimes in the luxury part of, America, maybe like upstate Manhattan, New York, Long Island, or California, Los Angeles, some of these more wealthier parts of the country, you'll find that maybe the price per square foot is higher. But where I'm at, 20 cents per square foot is pretty standard. So if I pull up to a 2,500 square foot house, I'm looking at, $500. I believe that's what that math works out to. And here's the other thing you guys need to figure out is as you're growing, you need to figure out how much you guys need to make per hour in your business for it to be profitable. So in my business, I need to make $275 to $300 an hour for me to be profitable. That's business insurance, insurances on the trucks, truck payments if there are truck payments. You have equipment, gas, you have your bills, you have taxes, you have, putting aside money for marketing and then the business growth. There's so much stuff that goes into, ensuring the business's, future profitability and future growth that you need to figure out what exactly that number is. So I know on a 2,500 square foot house that I'm charging $500 for, in 90% of the cases, I'm gonna be able to do this job in about an hour and a half. So if I'm able to do this job in an hour and a half, okay, well, this works because I'm still making $275 to $500 an hour. If that's the case, I'm gonna fire this quote to my customer. They're gonna be happy because this is industry standard. They're not getting something that's too out of the ordinary here. If they're getting bids, they're probably gonna get something that's pretty competitive to where I'm at. I'm gonna be profitable because I'm making $275 an hour and I can ensure my business's growth in the future. This is where things start to get a little shaky here, and this is where you can't always stick to the price per square foot. Let's get into this scenario. Let's say we have a 3,000 square foot house, and honestly, I'm just using 3,000 square foot. I don't care if it's 1,500 square foot, but let's use a bit bigger of a house. Let's go 3,000 square foot. Well, on 20 cents per square foot, that's $600. Well, let's just say that this house, instead of it being like a perfectly rectangle square house that's maybe made of vinyl and wood, and if you guys are brand new to the industry, vinyl and wood is a lot easier to clean as far as how much chemical that you have to use and how much chemical that you're exposed to, as opposed to like stone or stucco or brick and those kinds of siding. So let's go ahead and say that this house, instead of it being vinyl or hardy board like most houses, let's say it's stone or limestone or stone and brick, or stone and stucco. Let's go stone and stucco. If a whole house, like here in Texas, most of our houses are either brick, stone, or stucco, and then some wood. We have a little bit of everything down here. But if you got a house that's mostly stone and stucco, that's going to require most likely double or triple or sometimes even quadruple the strength of chemical. So instead of using like a 1% chemical ratio, we might be using 4, 5, or 6%, really just depending on how dirty it is and how long it's been since it's been clean. Well, if I'm using double, triple, or even quadruple the chemical, are my costs going to go up? Yeah. Am I going to be exposed to more chemical? Yeah. Okay, in the heat of the summer and you're spraying chemicals and it's windy and you got overspray coming up, there's going to be a lot more overspray coming up onto you, and it's going to be double, triple, or quadruple as strong. So do you think our prices need to go up? Yeah. So instead of it being 20 cents per square foot and $600, and here's the other thing too. Stone and stucco, it's going to take me a lot longer to clean because there's going to be a lot more dwell time. I could have a chance of having to hit it 2 or 3 times over. Plenty of scenarios where that happens. So again, our price is going to have to go up because instead of it taking maybe an hour and a half, this might take me 3 hours, maybe 3.5 hours. Really just depends. Maybe they got a lot of delicate plants around the house. They got a lot of delicate things that really can't be having strong bleach land on it. So if this kind of house takes me 3 hours and I know I need to make $275 to $300 an hour, I might look at it and go, $900. Yeah, $900. It's only 500 square foot bigger than the 2,500 square foot house that I'm charging $500 for, but it's taking me double the time, and I can't quiver off my hourly rate. I have to at a minimum need to make this per hour, otherwise the business model doesn't make sense, right? So yeah, the customer very well might be getting a $900 estimate. Now, I might look at it and say, okay, is this house worth $900? Okay, because you're gonna look at houses and you're gonna say, okay, I'm still able to make my hourly rate, but even then, there sometimes could be what I call pain in the ass factors. Okay, yeah, sure, I'm making my hourly rate and it makes sense. But this house is like even more so. Maybe you have to get up on a ladder. Sometimes these houses have really oddball angles and there's all kinds of stuff everywhere. You gotta cover up stuff. You gotta have multiple guys on the ground watering plants. You gotta tape up doors. You got so much expensive stuff everywhere. Like I did a house one time and this house had like a lot of these trees planted that were from a special nursery, and each of these trees were worth $15,000 each, and they all had to get covered up, okay? This is all pain in the ass factor. You guys, sometimes you have to take into account, because there has to be some kind of risk to reward ratio. Like if I run the risk of potentially damaging any of these crazy expensive things, I have to be compensated with some kind of reward, right? So that's where the price gets into it. And that's what I like to call pain in the ass factor, because yeah, it could be a house that takes me 3 hours, but if there's so much on the line with the risk of damaging stuff, the risk of potentially falling off a roof and breaking my neck and dying, how about that? Or, breaking things, okay, I have to take that into account. So, okay, now it's a 3-hour job, it's $900 just starting out because I have to make my hourly rate, but there's all this extra stuff like risk that I have to take into account. I might look at that and say, you know what? I'm gonna add an extra $300 and I'm gonna call it $1,200. So, that's kind of how I'm pricing pressure washing jobs. You have your baseline square foot, depending on where you are, 15 to 25 cents per square foot. You got it there. Then, as soon as you have that, you also need to know how much you need to make per hour. So I look at a house, okay, $500. Is it going to take me, does it fall in my lines of how much I need to make per hour? Great. So those two get check marked. Then I say, okay, how much of a pain in the ass is it going to be? Is it no pain in the ass? Is it pretty easy? Great, they're gonna get a $500 estimate. Is it gonna be a big pain in the you know what? Well, I'm gonna have to adjust my pricing. So if you guys are just getting started, that's how these guys are doing it. How much they need to make per hour. If you guys can make what you need to make per hour to be profitable, it's essentially a nose-lose situation. You're always going to be profitable. That's great. But you guys don't want to just stick to that, because you also have to take into account these extra things like the pain in the ass factor. If you have to do a bunch of extra stuff, that's going to require an extra 30 minutes of prep work. That's something to take into account. Hope you guys enjoyed this video on how I price pressure washing jobs. I go way more in depth on this kind of stuff, including pricing, equipment, chemicals, how to grow your business, how to get leads, how to talk to customers in my 6-figure pressure washing program. The program also comes with a private Facebook group where we do weekly Zoom calls, accountability, one-on-one coaching, all in the Facebook group. So if you guys are interested in getting into that program, check out the first link in the description. I'd love to see you there. And if you guys got any kind of value from this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button, comment down below what you want to see next, hit the like button if you can, and we'll see you on the next one.